How's it going, guys? Doing a different kind of stream tonight, I decided. I'm taking a look at a YouTube channel, a video I found that I thought was interesting. I might actually subscribe to them if my mouse works. Yeah, let's go ahead. They're called YP. Well, the video we're going to take a look at is called Nuclear Armageddon in EAS World War III scenario. Now, yeah, this is just a simulation. It's not real. Some of the alerts might actually be pre-recorded. Some of them. But it's not to say, like, oh, there's a nuke coming. So if you're watching this, don't worry. It has... No, I didn't put simulate. I'm going to put simulation. Because it's not real. Actually, I'm also going to change that to just chatting. Not special events. Alright, so I did that. And yeah, so without further ado, let's get on with the video. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, so it's fictional. The United States continues to express its commitment to safeguard Taiwan. How are you supposed to read that fast? Hold on. Go back. I can't read that fast. Emergency alert system. Okay. The U.S. continues to express its commitment to safeguard Taiwan's sovereignty over the years. Excuse me. This is a slap to Beijing's One China principle, which has been the PRC's, People's Republic of China, stance for years. The U.S. Navy continues to navigate through the Taiwan Strait along with Western allies to show its hardcore commitment to Asian allies and partners. China said that American presence in the South China Sea is a threat to world peace and has demanded the U.S. Navy to leave. China has said multiple times that it will fight to retake the island back to China's rule, with or without force. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. China has upgraded its military through the years, while the United States is the world's most powerful country. Really? China is a direct challenge to America's superpower status. As the world grapples to survive a global pandemic, China continues to plan its invasion of Taiwan, which will trigger a new global war between China and the U.S. Of course it will. Some of this could actually happen. I don't know. So World War III and EAS simulation. I forget what EAS stands for. Does it say in the description? 21st century, there were... no, it doesn't. Okay, anyway, that's right. Okay, so 2020 something in Washington, D.C.
To see how exactly they're going to respond.
Some of these are real reports, but majority of it's made up.
Because, John, what you have to look at is this is the red line according to China. Taiwan is sovereign territory that the Chinese believe belongs to them. So
but that doesn't mean this can't happen. This won't happen either.
Could lead to military conflict.
David Culver, as always, thank you so much for your reporting.
I'm gonna mute some of the commercials because it has music. Yeah, I'm gonna mute that just because I don't want. Yeah, so it's like, does someone put this together? Okay. CNN normal programming has been interrupted. Please stand by. USA.gov. I thought the website handle was us.gov. Whatever.
Has been interrupted due to the activation of the emergency alert system.
I thought the website handle was us.gov. Whatever.
Has been interrupted due to the activation.
Nope.
Normal programming has been interrupted
Should
due
be loud
to
enough.
the activation of the emergency alert system. Please stand by. This is a national advisory broadcast. The abrupt interruption of television, cable, and radio broadcasting is essential to national
put that down
security, as
there.
well as to ensure clear communication between the government
Good,
and
I
the
don't have to read it
American
myself.
people. The following message is being transmitted at the request of the U.S. government. The Department of State have received reports from the Taiwan government of Chinese military incursion in the Taiwan Strait.
So, what I'm going to say is actually real. So, there's two Chinas. You have the People's Republic of China, which would include China, and then, well, technically Hong Kong is part of China, but that's a whole nother story. And then you have Taiwan, which is, so, People's Republic of China, and then you have the Republic of China, which is Taiwan. So after that Civil War, this was after World War II, communists took power in China. Their government evacuated to Taiwan, which is more or less the original. I guess in a way you could say it's the original government of China. Well, I don't know what they did like thousands of years ago, but I mean before this CCP or CPP, Communist Party, CCP, Chinese Communist Party. So they took over. So that what I did say that is actually true.
The 7th Fleet of the United States Navy is ready to respond to any military action against Taiwan. Threats to U.S. military installations in Asia and to the U.S. mainland has drastically increased during the past hour. The U.S. military has increased the current threat level to DEFCON 1, which indicates that the U.S. Armed Forces is at maximum readiness and that any aggression against the United States mainland, government and citizens are imminent in the next hour. No action is required at this time. Please stay calm and bear with us as we gather more information as the situation unfolds. Stay tuned to your local media news outlet and ensure that mobile devices are connected to Wi-Fi or mobile data to receive the latest information. Normal programming will now resume.
Oh, okay. That's not normal. Oh, there. The United States is at DEFCON 1, the highest alert in the defense readiness condition. While China's plans have been revealed, America's adversary, Russia, is preparing a disastrous step against a former Soviet Union state.
Scenes of devastation. This is the front line in eastern Ukraine.
Now, this was actually uploaded, what was it, 11 months ago? Well, yeah, January. A little over a month ago. A little over 11 months ago.
Becoming the most explosive crisis in Europe since the Cold War. This is where Ukrainian forces have been fighting against Russian-backed separatists for almost 8 years now.
I'm going to take my shoes off, actually.
The Colonel's telling us we've got to really keep our voices down here, because this is the area where the Russian-backed separatist forces fire on their troops.
Can I look at something just for a second? I don't know if this will mess with the stream. Yeah, you can kind of see the stream. Hold on. Let me fix that. Sorry. I want to make sure the stream is okay. We good? Okay. At approximately 10 p.m. Tokyo time, the Japanese Air Self-Defense Force, JASDF, detected an incoming missile launched from America's old foe, North Korea. Of course! Because they can't get enough of that. Their government cannot. In an unexpected turn of events, the Americans and the Japanese are in disarray as they scramble to gather intel on North Korea's involvement. The Japanese Prime Minister has declared a state of emergency, as in ICBM is expected to hit Osaka, Japan. but the ICBM lost control and landed on the Sea of Japan. Yeah, that sounds like North Korea. What if they accidentally dropped it on themselves? North Korea's attempted involvement with the Chinese to distract the U.S. was a failed plan. South Korea is on red alert as the country prepare an invasion of North Korean strike. Of a North Korean strike, I should say. So we got April 11th, 2020 something. Let's just say 2023. 12:34 a.m. Korea Standard Time. Incheon. I don't know. I'm sure I know I pronounced that wrong. Yeah, it's in South Korea. We'll just say that.
경찰이 무고한 시민을 용의자로
Korean.
착각해 물리력을 사용해 체포했던 사실이 뒤늦게 알려졌습니다. 경찰 여러 명이 쓰러진 시민.
I have no idea what she's saying. Whoa! That is loud. It sounds like the what is
이것은 테스트가
like
아닙니다.
AOL?
공군이
Like an older
북한에서
internet browser I
발사되는
used.
미사일을 탐지했습니다. 머리 대피소, 다시 말하지만 머리 대피소. 미사일은 10분 안에
Yeah, I used to
인천을
use modem
명중할
internet.
것으로 예상된다.
Well, down here it says 2023. Well, it says 23. So basically 2023. Before it was 2020 dash. But okay, whatever. It's just a simulation. Incheon, South Korea is hit by an ICBM. 59,000 people died. Kim Jong-un has stepped up the game by triggering a mutual defense treaty between South Korea and the United States. What's that buzzing? The President of the United States has announced counterattacks against North Korea. The United Kingdom, France, Australia, and India have given their support of to the U.S. by sending their troops and navies to the South China Sea. While Taiwan is at stake, all are focused on the war about to be fought in the South China Sea. Nose. Millions of Americans watch at home as darkness covers the whole western seaboard. So you got April 11th, 2023 Pacific Time, San Francisco. Okay, another emergency alert. This is not a test. Tune in for more details. Civil authorities has issued an imminent danger warning.
Their normal programming to participate in
From
the
FEMA?
activation of the emergency
FEMA.
alert system. This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. A major power outage has been reported in the following states: California, Oregon, Nevada, Washington, Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, and Montana. The outage is affecting the whole Western interconnection power grid. Cyber attacks against the United States have been prevalent in the recent hours, and while the federal government is investigating this, we ask all residents affected by this outage to stay indoors. Please use battery-operated flashlights.
I assume they would hear this on
since
their
they are
phones or
fire
whatever.
hazard. Keep refrigerator and freezer doors closed as possible. Federal and state governments are now working with FEMA to correct the problem and to restore power as soon as possible. This concludes this alert.
What does FEMA
Normal
stand for?
programming will now resume.
Oh, I'm going to look that up. I should probably know, but... Federal Emergency Management System. Okay. The Western power grid has collapsed, causing a major power outage. The U.S. Space Force has shot down several Chinese satellites, causing telecommunications and internet to go offline in the whole of China. Missiles are fired against Taiwan. Multiple Taiwanese government officials have been reported to be either missing or dead. Multiple U.S. fighter jets have bombed Chinese industrial centers, government sites, and hydroelectric dams, causing an inland tsunami, killing as many people as a nuclear attack. Jeez. So it could be like 100,000 maybe? A lot of people. Well, if 100,000 people die in a short amount of time, that is a lot. The U.S. launches countermeasures attack against North Korea. While the western seaboard is left in the dark, fear and panic rises among the American people as the world faces uncertainty. Uncertainty. April 12th. All right, New York. I better not get a copyright claim for that, or a strike. For that one, like a split second of footage of whatever show that was. Another message from the government, the federal government. Presidential alert. You know, if something like this happened and I was streaming on Twitch, I would imagine that the stream would probably get interrupted.
This station has interrupted their normal
whether I
programming
wanted
to
it
give
to or
way
not.
to the national activation of the emergency broadcast system. All stations shall broadcast this emergency message. During this broadcast, most stations will remain on the air broadcasting news and official information to the public in assigned areas. To repeat, this station has interrupted their normal programming to give way to the national activation of the emergency broadcast
They're probably
system.
required to do that by federal
All
law.
stations shall broadcast this emergency message.
I'd imagine. It's probably a federal regulation saying they have to broadcast that.
Stand by for an automated message from the President of the United States.
Good morning. As you may be aware, the tensions between the United States and the People's Republic of China have severed our nation's diplomatic ties. The United States will do everything it needs to defend our freedom and those of our allies by taking a stand for democracy. Thousands of American troops are fighting for democracy overseas as you listen to this message. Multiple U.S. military locations in Asia have been targeted by China, with our air base in Okinawa suffering the greatest fatalities. Do not put American resolve to the test. The U.S. does not seek conflict, but if we are attacked, we are prepared to defend for our own. Our country has made it clear that we would not use nuclear weapons against China or North Korea. However, North Korea fired an intercontinental ballistic missile 25 hours ago, killing thousands of people in Incheon, South Korea. As Commander-in-Chief, I directed the armed forces to carry out Operation Red Dawn, in which the U.S. Navy, aided by a fleet of B-2 Spirit bombers, effectively destroyed various Chinese military installations and infrastructure, including the Three Gorges Dam. Chinese retaliation attacks are expected in the next hours, which is why I have ordered the evacuation of the following cities: New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Houston, as well as all areas within a 100-mile radius of a major military facility. These evacuation procedures are only precautionary. Local police and the National Guard have been called in to assist with the mass evacuation. I have also declared a national emergency. A curfew will be enforced from 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. It is strongly urged that all citizens leave the streets before 8 p.m. As our first president George Washington once said, to be prepared for war is one of the most effective means of preserving peace. May we hold on to the resolve of America and what our nation truly is. May God bless America and our troops.
All right.
This is an NBC News special report.
Live from Washington, D.C., a live shot of our nation's capital. This is an NBC News special report as we bring you the latest information regarding this worldwide crisis.
The emergency alert system has been activated. This is a message broadcast at the request of the White House and the U.S. Department of Defense. As of 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time today, The president authorized preemptive strikes at the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. This is in accordance with the attack carried out by North Korea against Incheon, South Korea, 26 hours ago. Due to continued bombardment by the United States and allied forces, 90% of North Korean military installations and infrastructure have been destroyed overnight. This, nevertheless, does not lessen the possibility of an attack on the United States. North Korean counterattacks are still likely, as we are unable to destroy all nuclear launch sites. However, because of our actions, North Korea is unlikely to re-establish and resupply. It is recommended that you prepare for possible attacks. Following our prior broadcast, major cities have been evacuated. If you are still in major cities, particularly on the West Coast, evacuate immediately. The National Guard will assist with evacuations. People who do not have their own vehicles will be transported via public transportation. Please follow traffic regulations if you own a car.
Obviously. Wait, go back. I want to...
Please.
So, the rest before you got cut off. If you are in rural areas, begin to construct your inner fallout shelter, some typos, using non-flammable materials in your fallout room. Your fallout room should be the lowest and innermost room in your home. Well, ideally without windows, so a basement. We don't have a fallout shelter here, so I would be dead, guaranteed. If you do not have if you do have windows, cover the windows using non-flammable materials, both on the inside and outside. I guess, I don't know, will that really do much? That would be like, I don't know, I guess it helps a little, but like say if there was a nuclear attack and then you put a gas mask on to keep out radiation. Well, the radiation, that's not going to keep radiation out. It's going to go through your body. You're going to have a lot of concrete to block it out. Anyway.
Follow traffic regulations if you own a car.
U.S. Department of Defense has issued a civil danger warning.
This is not a test. The North American Aerospace Defense Command has detected the launch of 4 missiles. These missiles are believed to be carrying a nuclear warhead and is expected to hit Honolulu, San Francisco, Los Angeles and Vancouver within the next 15 to 25 minutes. This is an attack warning. I repeat, this is an attack warning. An attack warning indicates that an actual attack on the United States has been detected and that immediate protective measures should be taken. All residents of Honolulu, San Francisco, and Los Angeles should seek out a fallout shelter as soon as possible. If such a shelter is not available in your location,
for most people it won't be
refuge
available.
In a basement or interior room on the lowest level of a sturdy structure. Take a battery-powered radio for use during your stay in the shelter. Do not leave your shelter.
I'm sure there's probably nearby shelters that most people don't know about, but like, is it? But it's probably not going to be like, oh, it's just a 5-minute walk from your house. Well, maybe for some people it is. I'm sure they do have fallout shelters. Probably even where I live. I don't know where they are. I don't know if we're really meant to know where they are.
Until it is declared safe to do so. If you leave your shelter, you may be exposing yourself.
I know
to
they do
radioactive
exist
fallout.
somewhere, though.
Fallout is a byproduct of nuclear explosions. Prolonged exposure to fallout may result in sickness or death. If someone dies as a result of the fallout, remove the body outside of the inner shelter and place it on the other side of the room. If possible, cover it with a blanket or fabric. After 14 days, you will be able to take the body outdoors and properly dispose of it. Pets should be euthanized.
No.
Other resources, which you cannot
Go back.
Pets should be euthanized.
No, I'm not killing my pets. Well, I have one dog. Go back. Okay, sorry, I was on
Shelter
Discord.
is not available in your location. Seek refuge in a basement or interior room on the lowest level of a sturdy structure. Take a battery-powered radio for use during your stay in the shelter. Do not leave your shelter until it is declared safe to do so. If you leave your shelter, you may be exposing yourself to radioactive fallout. Fallout is a byproduct of nuclear explosions. Prolonged exposure to fallout may result in sickness or death. If someone dies as a result of the fallout, remove the body outside of the inner shelter and place it on the other side of the room. If possible, cover it with a blanket or fabric. After 14 days, you will be able to take the body outdoors and properly dispose of it. Pets should be euthanized.
Euthanized. No. I had to look that word up the first time I watched this. Yeah, I thought I knew. Yeah, basically killing your pets. But I don't know. That's just sad. I don't think I would be able to go through that. And then maybe I wouldn't have to worry about it because maybe I would just be one of the first people that would die. And then it's like, hey, I don't have to worry about it because I'm dead.
Further resources, which you cannot afford to waste. Take your pets outside and euthanize them as carefully as possible. After 14 days, you will be able to properly dispose of the body.
Okay. As carefully as possible. I'm not even going to get into
when it is safe to go outdoors. Radios
how
will
you
notify you.
Anyway,
Do
I don't
not
want to
go
get into that.
outdoors unless you are told to. Fallout sticks to clothes, and stepping outdoors puts you and your family in danger.
8.5 minutes. Okay, you would have a fraction of that time. You wouldn't have 10 or 15 minutes. You probably wouldn't even have 8 minutes. They'd probably have like maybe 2 minutes. So you better stop you would have to stop what you're doing and run at that point because you would not be able to. Anyway, San Francisco, Honolulu, and Vancouver are hit. The grammar in this is horrible. One of the 4 missiles have been intercepted by the U.S. Space Force. Just one, yeah. So basically, you'd be screwed. I mean, yeah, the U.S. is a large country. But still. And it did say Vancouver. I'm assuming they're talking about British Columbia, not Vancouver, Washington. Oh, there's a Vancouver, Washington state. Probably in Canada. Anyway. With most of the Chinese mainland destroyed, the Chinese aren't going to give up that easily. The battle is now under the sea. Alright, April 13th, 2023. I'm just saying 2023. Okay, nuclear strike has hit San Francisco. Stay in stores to avoid nuclear fallout. Tune into this channel to receive the latest information. Civil authorities has issued a civil danger warning emergency alert system. Okay.
NORAD has detected the launch of 2 additional nuclear missiles headed for Los Angeles and San Jose.
San Jose, Texas. If that many cities were being destroyed, I mean, you would. Yeah, the U.S. is a large country, but I don't know. Even if you were to intercept a lot of them, well, you better do it over the ocean. I mean, no matter where you do it, it's going to be bad. But if you have to do it, I guess do it out in the open sea. That's the problem with nukes. Might want to turn your volume down. I should have said that before. Yep, that's the explosion. So were they destroyed again? I don't know. False intel suggests that North Korea fired missiles, but all along, China was the one who fired the missiles from the fleet of barely recognizable submarines. San Jose, Los Angeles, and London were hit. With China's military on the verge of breakdown from fighting wars on its borders and at sea, there is no turning back. A nuclear war has become their last resort. See, that's going to cause, well, maybe not every last person on Earth to die, but anyway. There is a quote. I'm not going to say the quote, mainly, well, I don't remember all of it. I'd have to look it up. But they'll talk about what the Fourth World War will be fought with, if any of this were to happen. So now we got, later the same day, 5:40 p.m., Albany, New York State. 5:40 Eastern Time, I should say.
You are seeing shots of the New York
now
skyline.
the show Fox News.
Most eastern cities are being evacuated as we speak. Millions of Americans are heading out of urban areas.
Okay,
nuclear explosion.
stop the video. There would be, I get that this this probably was something really on TV, but then they added some text. Like the font and text size. I get it's a simulation, but look at the font. It looks a little off, but I mean it's kind of similar. Oh, and then I forgot this was up here, whatever that is. Yeah, it's a simulation. I get it, but like, okay, go back. You would see more emergency. There would, I mean, I'm sure if you pause the video, you probably can see some like emergency crews, but you would see a ton more. They would have places like roads blocked off.
You are seeing shots of the New York skyline. Most eastern cities are being evacuated.
There would be more traffic than that.
Millions of Americans.
I don't even see any like flashing red or blue lights. I'm not saying there aren't any, but I would imagine if there was a mass evacuation going on, if this wasn't a simulation, there you would see more lights, and a lot of the roads would probably, a lot of the highways would probably be shut down. Well, you'd have to go. I don't know. And they're like, people are going to drive crazy. Like they do that regardless. But it's going to be, yeah, they're going to drive like, you know, it's going to be shit. It's a shit show. It already is, but it'd be a lot worse. Anyway,
Are heading out of urban areas following the nuclear explosion in San Francisco.
And then, no, hold on, go back. And then you look down
Americans
here.
Are heading out of urban areas.
I don't know. I guess those are people walking. No, they're just casually walking.
Areas following the nuclear explosion in
What's
San
going on
Francisco.
about their day?
We are getting.
Well, it's like, yeah, well, we're gonna get hit by a nuke. Just kind of casually walk away and just leave the city. It'll be all right. It's gonna be here soon, but let's take our time.
Getting raw video footage of the nuclear blast that hit San Francisco and the incredible damage. The whole city of San Francisco destroyed. While it may take up to 14 days for first responders to enter the city,
I wonder what this footage actually was. Joe Harrison. Okay, whatever. I don't know. Maybe a wildfire. I don't know what. I mean, this might have been from a movie, for all I know.
Take up to 14.
I don't know, but like obviously that's fire, but I can't really make out.
Incredible damage. The whole city of San Francisco destroyed.
Okay, come on.
While it may take up to.
Yeah, that could just be a wildfire somewhere.
14 days for first responders to enter the city. The death toll is still unknown.
Probably be in the millions.
The Department of Defense will send an update at any.
Yep. Expect more interruptions like this. U.S. Department of Defense has issued a national advisory broadcast. Why is my webcam? Well, the webcam's working, but it's not excuse me, tracking my movements. I don't even know if I closed out of the. Oh no, it's still there. Okay, there we go. It's going.
This is a national advisory broadcast. The abrupt interruption of television, cable, and radio broadcasting is essential to national security, as well as to ensure clear communication between the government and the American people. The following message is being transmitted at the request of the U.S. Department of Defense and the White House. At approximately 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the President has authorized the launch of 6 hypersonic missiles aimed at Beijing, Shanghai, Chongqing, Guangzhou and Pyongyang along with 2 ICBMs launched by the United Kingdom aimed at Chengdu and Shenzhen. This is in retaliation for the ICBM attacks that was launched against the United States that hit Honolulu, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Jose. Latest intel suggests that China and North Korea are unable to
San Jose, California.
Damage done by the United States and allies.
Is it? I think it is California.
That was launched recently will.
Okay, sorry.
Latest intel suggests that China and North Korea are unable to resupply due to the damage done by the United States and allies.
California. Yep. You got almost 1 million people living there in that city. Not talking about the whole
nuclear
state.
missiles that was launched recently will paralyze China's ability to restock and amass troops. However, counterattacks are still likely to happen. Everyone is advised to stay alert at all times, stay indoors and await local police and National Guard as they will lead you to evacuation. The emergency alert system will be activated if any threat is detected against the United States. Ensure that you have a battery-powered radio with you at all times. At this time, local TV news networks are still able to deliver a live simulcast via radio and live picture
Okay,
transmission.
pause the video. Now, I'm in no way an expert at all this stuff, but I'm trying to use as much common sense as possible. But the truth is, honestly, if a nuke were to hit, I really don't know what I would do. I might think it's like, oh, I'm gonna do this, but if it actually hit and I end up not dying, I probably will later. But if I end up surviving, I don't know. I might think, oh, I would do this. I have no idea if I would do this, whatever this is.
But in an event of a nuclear strike, turn it on to receive the latest news and updates specific to your local area.
And again, it's just a simulation. It's probably, you're going to hear me say this 22 more times at least.
Is prepared to respond to any given situation and that the threat posed by China and North Korea is reduced to a minimum. Keep your calm and take every precaution to keep yourself and your loved ones safe.
This was obviously
Remain alert for further
recorded on
information.
a text-to-speak program. Well, just for the video. Some of the recordings, like I think it was back in 2018 when when Hawaii, when they were so there was government workers or whatever, they were switching, changing shifts, and for some reason, somehow this happened, and I think people ended up getting fired and arrested for this. They were sending out alerts saying that a missile is coming to Hawaii, take shelter. I think it said like 15 or 30 minutes or whatever, and then there was no updates for a while. People were panicking. Obviously, there was no missile. So, some of the alerts that we're seeing might actually be real pre-recorded recordings. Pre-recorded recordings. Automatic pre-recorded recordings, whatever. I'll just go with that. And then hopefully they'll never be played, but they're there if they need to be. And obviously, like when the president was talking, that that they had to add on to that for this video. But it's very possible that some of the alerts, like I was gonna say Amber Alerts, that's for like missing people or missing kids, whatever. But anyway, on with the video. The 6 hypersonic missiles hit Chinese cities in an instant. Russia, should probably be a comma there. Let me read that again. The 6 hypersonic missiles hit Chinese cities. In an instant, Russia and Europe watches in awe as the conflict results into a total nuclear war in just 74 hours. Yeah, it should probably be... Actually, I think that should be a period. Whatever. Or semicolon. Or whatever. Oh, I thought I kept pausing the video. I think I did. With China collapse, the Russian president is left pressured with no choice but to intervene in the situation and distract the U.S. and allies at all means. By all means, it probably should say. 12 hours later in Washington, D.C.
Welcome to our viewers in the United States and around the world. While the U.S. is still facing great threats from China and North Korea, we are here to bring to you the latest information from an undisclosed media bunker.
Been streamed for almost an hour?
White House Press
Jeez.
Secretary Emma Williams announced that the
Well, I
president
keep
will speak
pausing
on
it.
all stations anytime.
I've been streaming for like 56 minutes. Of course, the first couple minutes will be edited out. I'm probably going to put that on my second YouTube channel, but I'm not actually sure. I got to wait for the 24-hour exclusivity period to expire, but also I want to see if I get stuff like struck down or whatever on Twitch, then I'm not even going to bother putting it on YouTube. But I think the worst that would probably happen is when they play the national anthem at the end of this video. Yeah, I've seen this before, but that might get muted. Well, it's not like the Star Spangled Banner, like I don't believe you have to get permission to do that song. However, you know, if there's like another artist that did the song, you know, that version could be copyrighted.
Time. The speech that will be delivered by the president is a voice message that was recorded from an undisclosed location. We are seeing a raw video footage released by the U.S. Navy showing the hypersonic missiles launched by the United States earlier today. The missiles were launched from both land and sea.
I guess CNN.
The Department of Defense reiterated that
I know
the
it's a
US
simulation.
will be able to
I know it's a simulation. I'm gonna go back a few seconds. I know it's a simulation, but I was going to make a joke that CNN has hired robots to do the news.
We are seeing a raw video footage released by the U.S. Navy showing the hypersonic missiles launched by the United States earlier today. The missiles were launched from both land and sea. The Department of Defense reiterated that the U.S. is and will be able to respond to any further attacks, but show a force that the United States can.
We're
Stand
broadcasting
by
this.
for an automated message from the President of the United States.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 48th President of the United States of America, James Marshall.
Hold on. I know most of the video it said 2020 something, but earlier in the video there was something that said 2023. Are we on the 47th president now? In the United States. I'm not talking about other. Oh. But why would we be 48th on the in 2023 unless Biden resigns and then Harris takes over? Oh, okay. No. Hopefully that doesn't happen. That'd be horrible. That might actually happen though. I don't know. So with the Speaker of the House, if the Prime Minister, so if the President is forced to resign, or they decide to resign on their own, or they're removed from office, whatever, Vice President takes over, would the Speaker of the House become the Vice President then? I know there's like a whole line of people in case something like that happened. Like when George Washington was president, it was his second term. He didn't actually serve the entire term. He served one term, and the second term he ran part of the term. And he was concerned that if he died in office, Americans would think that being president was a lifetime thing. Because back then they didn't really... There were no term limits. Anyway, because there was no vice president at that time. So he stepped down, and then he died 2 years later. Well, it's possible that if he ran again, or he ran the rest of his term, I'm not sure if the term would have ended before he died or what, but if he died during that time, there would be no one to replace him. I'm sure eventually they would find someone. It's like when the United States was founded, originally as the United Colonies, there was no president. It was just kind of ran by, the founding fathers, whatever, but it's ran by the people. I guess, yeah, technically it's run by the people too. Because the people, yeah, that's what a republic is. It's a country ran by the people. So in a way, like, you and I are not, well, I don't work for the federal government or whatever, or state government. I mean, I pay taxes, so I guess in a way I kind of do. They kind of work for me, but I mean, in a way, we govern the country. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Way off topic. Had nothing to do with the stream.
My fellow citizens.
Oh, that's obviously...
At this hour, American and
a
coalition
bot
forces in the
or
South China
whatever.
Sea are in the final stages of military operations to defeat the wicked
Automatic
China
recording.
and North Korea has unleashed to the world their true colors, which the United States will not allow. Just hours ago, the United States has launched 6 hypersonic missiles aimed at Chinese major cities. Coalition forces mainly from the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, Canada,
We
Australia,
should get Microsoft Sam
India,
to read these.
Turkey and Japan have begun striking selected targets of military importance to undermine China's ability to wage another war. More than 25 countries are
clouds
giving
moving?
crucial support from the use of naval and air
think
bases
they are,
to help
kind of.
with
Yeah, they are.
intelligence and logistics to the deployment of combat units. We will defend our common security, our shared prosperity and our common liberty. We will not be intimidated. If the righteous men will not confront the wicked few, then evil will triumph.
Yeah, it keeps resetting.
Anyone who doubts the strength or determination of the United States should look at our past. History is filled with discarded regimes that has foolishly tested America's resolve. We will not allow America and our allies to be blackmailed or attacked. We will not allow American cities and of our allies to be destroyed by evil regimes. We are prepared for any eventuality. The United States Congress have drafted an emergency bill to aid the federal government in evacuation and to relinquish our national supplies. The evacuation of eastern cities have proven to be effective. FEMA and state governments have drafted plans in case of an additional nuclear attack. The U.S. military has lost thousands of men and military bases in Asia during the past hours. This is why I have signed an executive order to ensure that our country has sufficient troops. My executive order has requested the drafting of all men between ages 21 to 36 to report for induction in the armed forces for deployment across the country and abroad. Your country needs you during this most critical time. We must fight for our freedom. We must crush this evil regime that has ravaged our nation and claimed innocent lives. Americans
I wonder
on the
how
West
many
Coast
people
are
would
battling the fallout due
try
to
to
the
dodge
nuclear
the draft.
radiation from the blast. It may take up to
Sure, there
14
would be
days
people that
for
would do
first
that.
responders to search the area as devastated cities are locked down. NATO has also met with an
I like how it
emergency
says
meeting
devastated.
this morning discussing
Devastated.
more options. The United States, NATO along with 25 coalition countries will make sure that this conflict will end soon as the United Nations is no longer of use. We will pass.
Wait, what?
Will end soon as the United Nations is no longer of use.
Go back.
The United States.
Did the United Nations collapse?
NATO along with 25 coalition countries will make sure that this conflict will end soon as the United Nations is no longer of use. We will pass through this time of peril and carry on the work of peace. We will prevail. May God bless our country and all who defend her.
The message of the American president has reached far ends of the earth, hinting a momentous victory for the U.S. and her allies. Oh, wait, okay. I don't know why I didn't read that. If Russia joins the conflict, it will be the end of the world as leaders convened. Well, the end of the world as we know it, at least. The United States has been damaged enough and can't afford another military intervention. It would take a lot to really damage the U.S. With NATO focused on Asia, America's resources exhausted all out on damaged American cities. It's a Russian dream come true. "48 hours later, Manchester, United Kingdom."
This is breaking news from Ukraine, where Russia has launched its first strikes against the country. This is a developing breaking news
Well,
story
this
as
video
we
was
recover more
uploaded back in
information for the
January
hours
this
to
year,
come.
so...
Several Ukrainian government officials have spoken with Western nations about increased
Now this...
military action along
Yeah,
the Russian
this actually happened.
border.
Maybe not exactly how
The
they're
Russian Navy
saying it,
began
but...
firing strikes against Ukrainian cities 30 minutes ago, according to the Ukrainian government.
Excuse
All
me.
NATO forces are currently deployed in the South China Sea, according to reliable sources. As a result, NATO combat soldiers will be unable to respond in adequate numbers. We're still waiting for Russia's foreign minister to hold a press conference.
Emergency broadcast. Oh,
This
BBC.
is BBC Television from Manchester. We are interrupting our normal programming for an emergency broadcast on behalf of Her Majesty's
Yeah, this was
government.
before
This country has been
the Queen
warned
died.
about the possibility of a nuclear
And
attack. The
before
current
King
threat
Charles
level is
took over.
critical, indicating that an attack is about to occur. Remaining indoors is advised for civilians. Evacuations are taking place in certain urban areas. If you find yourself in one of these regions, police will assist you in getting to safety. Follow their orders without question. Unless otherwise instructed, you should remain indoors. It is recommended that you construct an inner shelter in the lowest and most central section of your home, away.
Hold on. You are advised to build an inner refuge in the lowest and most central location, away from doors and windows. I mean, the only thing I could think of is like, well, what they went over earlier is covering the windows on the inside and outside. But I mean, if they're talking about like constructing, like building more stuff in your house, there's not going to be time for that.
From exterior.
I mean, I guess you could move the couch or whatever and duck behind. I don't know. Like, you're not going to be able to build a room. Not properly, anyway. Well, no, there's no way you'd be able to do that. And like what, like say, oh, it's going to happen in 30 minutes to the next hour. There's no way. I guess the best you could do is cover up your windows. Maybe put something blocking doors or windows or whatever. But other than that, like, you're not going to be able to really construct much in that short amount of time. I don't know. Anyway. I mean, I'm trying to think of something else you could do, but I'm sure there are other things you could try to do to protect yourself, but you're not going to be able to, like, build a wall. Anyway.
Entrances and windows as much as possible. Following the strike, there will be a speech from Her Majesty the Queen.
I hate that noise. Birmingham, Paris, Berlin, and Barcelona are hit by nuclear attacks. By nuclear missiles. Is this Russia's doing? Probably. Five hours later, Vancouver, Canada. Yeah, and what? Okay, so Vancouver, British Columbia, I was talking about then.
The Pope has released a 6-minute video addressing this
I wonder what he
war
was really
conflict.
saying there.
The Pope said that war is the suicide of humanity because it kills the heart and kills love. The Pope urged world leaders to resolve the current conflict and walk the path of peace through clear communication between nations. He said that only war that we must all fight is the one against evil. This is the first time the Pontiff appeared in live television
The
since
Pop.
Sunday's
I like how it
illness.
says Pope. Oh, Canada. Un méchant un français sévère. Government of Canada.
We interrupt our programming.
Gouvernement
This is a
du
national
Canada.
emergency. Important details will follow.
Nous interrompons notre programmation. C'est une urgence nationale. Des détails importants suivront.
Shouldn't this be a why is there a space? Alright, whatever.
The following message is being transmitted at the request of the Canadian government. This is not a test. The United States Department of Homeland Security relayed information to the Canadian government that Russian troops have invaded Alaska. Relayed information to the United States Department of Homeland
Well, if that
Security
happens, then we're
relayed
screwed.
information to the Canadian government that Russian troops have invaded Alaska.
Maybe not, maybe not.
Multiple
I mean, how many people in Alaska own guns? I mean, a gun's not going to help you against, 40? Oh, I thought it said 40 missiles. See, maybe, I mean, owning guns isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, as long as you're not going out, as long as you know how to properly use them. I mean, they need to have better background checks, but I don't think they need to ban guns.
Russian vessels were identified
but do
across
improve
the
background
Bering
checks.
Sea and the Pacific Ocean by the Canadian Armed Forces and NORAD at around 8 p.m. Pacific time, with some landing on the coast and some stationed
thought
about
NORAD was
40 nautical
NORAD was
miles
in
off the coast of
Colorado.
Alaska. Russian forces are said to have taken control of Anchorage, Alaska's capital, and is now headed to the Canadian-United States border. All residents receiving this broadcast are advised to do state of Anchorage, Alaska's capital, and is now headed to the Canadian-United States border.
Go back. Am I missing something? Okay, no, I don't think so.
Alaska's capital, and is now headed to the Canadian-United States border. All residents receiving this broadcast are advised to do the following: stay indoors as a precaution, turn off all heating and air conditioning systems, and cover all cracks on doors and windows with tape, moist clothes, or damp towels to avoid exposure to probable chemical or biological weapons, since Russian troops are likely to have such weapons. Along the border, the Canadian Air Force and NATO forces have been reinforced. The Canadian government is putting out every effort to limit this threat to a bare minimum. Continue to monitor media outlets or visit for the latest news and information.
Invasion of America and Europe? Well, seems so. The U.S. government has issued a presidential alert, another one.
This station has interrupted their normal programming to give way to the national activation of the emergency broadcast system. All stations shall broadcast this emergency message. During this broadcast, most stations will remain on the air broadcasting news and official information to the public in assigned areas. To repeat, this station has interrupted their normal programming to give way to the national activation of the emergency broadcast system. All stations
See, my
shall
graphics card ever
broadcast
came.
this emergency message.
It's supposed to come tonight, but it's snowing right now, so yeah, it had about 8 centimeters earlier, about 3 inches.
Stand by for an automated message from the President of the United States.
My fellow Americans, it is with disbelief that I inform you that we are withdrawing all forces from the South China Sea, in preparation for a possible Russian invasion from the north. The Canadian province of British Columbia has fallen to the Russian troops 30 minutes ago, as British Columbia
Well,
is
they would
bordered
have
with
probably
Washington,
taken
Idaho,
Alaska
and
then, too.
Montana. I have ordered the immediate evacuation of these states. Our nation will do everything in their power to push the Russian offensive off the coast with our unmatched capabilities. Following a 2-hour conversation with Russian President on Ukraine, their president had...
Well, back to what I was saying about guns. When they scare... I don't know. Whatever. Let's just continue.
assured me that Russia
I'm
will
thinking
work
about
with
this
the
way
US
too
and
much.
coalition
I'm
nations
taking
to
this
avert
way
a
too serious.
full-scale nuclear confrontation. However, they have not followed through on their promises. We may not know Russia's cause on why they are doing this, but we will fight for our freedom until the very end. War is the remedy that Russia has chosen, and I say let us give them all they want. A short time ago, I ordered the United States Armed Forces to launch 15 thermonuclear gravity B-83s with additional 15 hypersonic nuclear missiles aimed at Russian cities and military assets. A joint operation including the military forces of France, United Kingdom, and India is now underway. France, the United Kingdom and India have also fired 20 nuclear missiles aimed at Russian military sites. This unanticipated combined response will integrate all instruments of our national power and cripple half of Russia's potential to conduct counterattacks against Western countries. Russian counterattacks are expected in the next hours, but we are prepared to sustain this response. The U.S. has stealthily built large underground nuclear fallout shelters in most
like I was
cities
saying earlier.
decades ago. These advanced fallout shelters can hold up to 20,000 people and have supplies that will last up
Probably
to 10
have them
years.
all over the place,
As soon
but-
as you receive this message, the National Guard and the Armed Forces has begun evacuation operations nationwide. Since the nuclear bunkers can only hold a maximum
that's
amount
the
of people,
bad thing
the
about it.
accommodation has been pre-selected by the U.S. government. If you have been chosen, the National Guard will lead you to evacuation. Everyone is advised to prepare a nuclear
Go back.
You to evacuation. Everyone is advised to
fallout in your homes. All Americans are advised to move to a basement or interior room on the lowest level of a sturdy building. Stay away from windows, doors, and outside walls. Put as much space between you and the outside as possible, as much as possible. Take a battery-powered radio for use during your stay in the shelter. Do not leave your shelter until it is declared safe to do so. What are you supposed to do if there's a fire? Well, okay, hopefully there's no fire. I guess that's all I could say. Now, if you were like out in the middle of nowhere and you had signal on your car or whatever, and there's a, hey, you guys need to take cover. There's a nuclear missile coming. You're out in the middle of nowhere. Normally, you wouldn't want to get in a vehicle, but I mean, if you're out in the middle of nowhere, there's no buildings, then you may as well get in the car. I mean, it's probably not going to really help, but normally that would be advised not to do. But I mean, if that's all the shelter you can get, I'd say take it. Even though it may not help much, but it's better than nothing. Another civil danger warning from the Department of Defense. The US DoD.
This is an attack warning. I repeat, this is an attack warning. This means that an actual attack has been detected against the United States, and that protective action is required. All residents of the continental United States are advised to seek out a fallout shelter now, and brace for impact. The North American Aerospace Defense Command has detected the launch of 40 nuclear missiles from Russia. These missiles are expected to impact the following locations in the next 6 to 8 minutes.
If that were to happen, that would probably be something where the American democracy would just completely collapse at that point. I mean, yeah, you could try to rebuild it. Maybe there would be some states that wouldn't be as hurt as badly, but I would say the federal government would probably, at this point, I would argue it would be gone. But they still expect you to pay your taxes, and I'm sure they'll, to some extent, they might still be around. It's like, hey, you guys still need to pay your taxes, or we're going to get you. I don't know how they would go through with that at this point, but at least not right away. But I guess it's possible that like some individual states that are still standing and they still have government power could still operate. I don't know if they would have to. I mean, in the long run, if it's like, the U.S. isn't coming back, but some states survived, would those states just become independent countries? I don't know. Like, in the case, say, the U.S. like, just did actually collapse, and there was no coming back. I don't know.
Chicago, New York.
Most of us probably wouldn't be alive to find out.
Philadelphia, Las Vegas, Seattle, Nashville, Denver, Portland, Atlanta, Detroit, New Jersey, Fargo, Tampa, Salt Lake City, Oklahoma, and San Diego. These strikes are expected to destroy all of our major urban centers. Nuclear missiles have also targeted cities all across the world. A severe and prolonged global climatic nuclear winter will eventually ensue due to high nuclear radiation levels. A nuclear winter is a deadly period of darkness, famine, toxic gases, and sub-zero cold. Average global temperatures are expected to drop between 15 to 25 Celsius after the blast. The combined cooling and enhanced 15 to 25 Celsius after the blast. The combined cooling and enhanced UV would put significant pressures on global food supplies.
What is the average
and will
temperature
trigger
of the
a
world?
global
Is it
nuclear
32
famine. Residents who are not
Celsius
in
or
government
whatever?
nuclear
30?
fallout shelters are
Should
still
be about like
encouraged to
85,
seek
86
fallout
Fahrenheit.
shelter. Move to a basement
Ish.
or interior room on the lowest level of a sturdy building. Stay away from windows, doors, and outside walls. Put as much space between you and the outside as possible. Take a battery-powered radio for use during your stay in the shelter. Battery-operated and hand-crank radios will function after a nuclear detonation. Stay inside, unless local authorities provide other instructions.
Have been launched towards the United States. Seek shelter immediately. Don't they? I think they play the national anthem next, don't they?
This concludes the activation of the emergency alert system. The broadcast will conclude with the playing of the national anthem.
I thought it, for some reason well, I knew the national anthem, but then for some reason I was thinking, it's like, do they go back to regular programming? It's like, hey, you're gonna die, but we'll go back to regular programming anyway. So you can watch you can watch 5 minutes of your show. Would probably be more like a minute and a half of the show. You're gonna die, but hey, you get to watch your favorite TV show or movie, at least. And it's like for me, it's like, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Like, I guess for me, it's like, oh, I'm streaming on Twitch, I got another minute. Okay. Oh, they also play the Pledge of Allegiance as well. I thought the video crashed for a second when the screen went black. Now it's the siren. It's the siren. I know it's a simulation. I say that for like the 20th time probably, but is the siren meant to be part of the alert, or is that supposed to allude? Like, is that supposed to allude that that's going on outside your home or something? I don't know. The national anthem, shock and awe. I'm going to turn this down because I believe there's a loud explosion at the end. Well, it's probably fine for now. When they get towards the very end of the song. Excuse me. Now, most people probably would be unable to watch this even if they wanted to. And if they somehow had power, most people probably would not be getting this. Now, if this really were to happen, I can't really say if this would happen 100%. I'm gonna turn this down. Like if it would be exactly like this, probably not. It'd probably be a lot different. But I mean, I'm sure some of it would be. This is gonna get copyrighted. That's why I turned it down. No signal. Yep, okay. No signal. Well, you probably wouldn't be seeing no signal. Yeah. I don't even know if you'd hear the explosion. Because maybe you would die before you had... Doesn't light travel faster than sound anyway? Oh yeah, so this is the quote I was talking about by Lord Mountbatten. If the Third World War is fought with nuclear weapons, the fourth will be fought with bows and arrows. Probably. Maybe not. I don't know. Can I make that the thumbnail? I don't know. Maybe I will. Yeah. So, I mean, no doubt it would be pretty scary. And most of us probably wouldn't be here. I probably wouldn't be here. Even though I don't live by any of those targets. Well, not right by them, but I don't know. Or maybe they would do the least expected and attack where you wouldn't think they would. Anyway. Alright, that was an interesting video. The only winning move is not to play. Yeah, that's true. Well, hopefully that doesn't happen. Alright, can I end with that quote? Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna end the stream. This went on longer than I thought it would actually. But I don't know, I probably should have planned for. It's like, oh, I'm gonna be pausing it and talking about it a lot. I actually did that more than I thought I would. But hey, you know, that was a very interesting video. I'm probably not going to be doing any more streams like this just because I don't really want this to be the focus of my channel. But it was something different for a change. I mean, I have done like reaction videos or live streams, whatever, to like presentations, well, related to video games. But I wanted to do something a little different for once. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching. I was going to say hopefully you enjoyed this. Well, not that you want to see this, but hopefully that you actually still found the live stream interesting and somewhat educational. I don't know of how educational I would really argue this would be, but I mean, maybe to some degree. But obviously, there's some stuff, like, again, it's a simulation, so it's not going to be perfect. But when you saw all the cars leaving, and then you saw the people, you could barely see them, but you could see people leaving. They were just casually walking. Like, oh, we're evacuating the city. And, you know, okay, I don't know. I'm going to end this, so I want to thank you for watching. And without further ado, I will see you guys